Level 1. You are 47 years old. You are sitting at a small wooden desk in the corner of a room. The room is in your house. The room used to be a guest bedroom. You have, in the last 6 months, converted it into something that does not quite have a name yet. There is the desk. There is a filing cabinet. There is a laptop. There is a single bookshelf with 3 books on it about estate planning and trust structures. There is a window that looks out at your backyard. You sit at the desk for about 2 hours a day. The 2 hours are spent on something you did not, until recently, think of as work. The work is managing your money. The money is around $8 million. The money came from selling a small company you ran for 22 years. You sold it last year. You walked away with $8 million after taxes. You are, by any reasonable standard, wealthy. You are also, by any reasonable standard, completely unprepared for what wealth requires. The first month after the sale, the $8 million sat in a high-yield savings account. You did not know what else to do with it. The second month, you opened a brokerage account and put $4 million into a basic index fund. The third month, your accountant suggested you meet with an estate attorney. You met with him. He suggested you meet with an insurance specialist. You met with her. She suggested you meet with a trust officer. You met with him. By month 6, you have met with 11 different professionals, each of whom is excellent at their specific job, and none of whom is responsible for thinking about your money as a whole. You have, sitting at the small wooden desk in the converted guest bedroom, become the integrator. You are the only person who knows everything about your financial situation. You are also the only person who is, fundamentally, not qualified to be the integrator. This is the smallest version of a family office. 1 person, 1 desk, 3 books. The work is unglamorous. The work is endless. The work consists of trying to manage $8 million in a way that does not, slowly, dissolve through poor coordination across 11 separate professionals. You will, within 2 years, hire someone to help you. The someone will be an accountant who works for you part-time. You will pay her $60,000 a year. She will, over the next decade, become the second most important person in your financial life. The verb at level 1 is integrate. You sit in the middle of a small ecosystem of specialists, and your job is to make sure nothing falls between them. The work is invisible. The work is also the entire reason your $8 million does not, in the next 20 years, become $2 million through the accumulated drift of uncoordinated decisions. Most wealthy people stay at this level forever. There is no shame in this. The level is real. The level is sustainable. Level 2. You are 53. You have hired a chief of staff. Her name is Margaret. She is 41. She has, before working for you, worked for 3 other wealthy families in similar roles. She is paid $210,000 a year. She works from a small office above the dental practice on the 2nd floor of a building you own. The $210,000 a year felt, when you hired her, like an enormous amount of money. You had never paid anyone $200,000 a year. The salary, broken down hourly, is more than you paid yourself for the first 10 years of running your company. You did the math. The math made you uncomfortable. You hired her anyway. You hired her because you realized, around your 2nd year managing your wealth yourself, that you were spending 15 hours a week on things that were not your highest use of time. The 15 hours a week, at your effective hourly rate as a former operator, were costing you considerably more than the salary of someone who could do the work better than you. Margaret does the work better than you. She coordinates the 11 professionals. She maintains a single document, updated weekly, that shows the current state of every account, every investment, every insurance policy, every estate document. She handles the small administrative tasks that consume the hours of the wealthy. She schedules the quarterly meetings with your attorney, your accountant, your investment advisor. She remembers, on your behalf, the things you should remember but do not. You have, by hiring Margaret, gone from being your own family office to being the principal of a small one. The small one consists of you and Margaret. The 2 of you, working together, manage the $8 million that has now, through compound growth, become $12 million. This is the second thing nobody tells you about family offices. The second thing is that the first hire is the hardest. Everything after the first hire is easier. The first hire requires you to admit that the work has grown beyond what one person can do well. The first hire requires you to pay someone an amount that feels uncomfortable. The first hire requires you to trust someone with information that, Until now, only you had. Most wealthy people never make the first hire. They continue managing everything themselves, slowly, until something falls through the cracks. The thing that falls through the cracks is usually something small. The small thing compounds. By the time anyone notices, the cost is significant. The verb at level 2 is delegate. The first delegation is the hardest. The first delegation is also the beginning of the institution. Level 3. You are 61. Your office has 6 people. The 6 people work out of an office that takes up the entire second floor of the building above the dental practice. The dental practice is still there. You walk past it every morning. The dentist nods at you. He does not know that the second floor office handles a portfolio that is now worth $32 million. The 6 people are Margaret, who is now your chief of staff and has been with you for 8 years. An accountant, who handles all bookkeeping and tax preparation. A junior associate, who supports both Margaret and the accountant. A property manager, who handles the 4 real estate properties you have acquired over the last decade. A part-time attorney, who handles estate and trust work 2 days a week. And a personal assistant, who handles your travel, calendar, and household coordination. The 6 people, in aggregate, cost you about $1.5 million a year in salaries and overhead. The $1.5 million is, on the surface, a lot of money to spend on managing your money. The $1.5 million is, on closer examination, less than 5% of your annual returns on the portfolio. The math works. The math works because, at this level, the family office has become an actual operating business. The business does not produce revenue in the traditional sense. The business produces preservation. The business prevents the slow accumulation of small losses that comes from uncoordinated wealth management. The prevention, over decades, is worth far more than the cost. This is the third thing nobody tells you about family offices. The third thing is that, at a certain level of wealth, the family office is not a luxury. The family office is the only way to prevent the wealth from gradually dissolving. The dissolution, when it happens, is almost always slow. The dissolution is the result of 1,000 small, uncoordinated decisions. The family office is the mechanism that coordinates the decisions. The coordination is the entire product. Your portfolio, at $32 million, is now diversified across 7 asset classes, for real estate properties in 2 cities, a small private equity fund, 2 large index positions, a managed account at a large investment firm, and a charitable foundation that you established 3 years ago. Each of these things, on its own, would require attention. All of them together, without coordination, would dissolve. The family office is what prevents the dissolution. The verb at level 3 is coordinate. Coordinate the specialists. Coordinate the strategies. Coordinate the family across the small group of people who are now affected by the wealth. Level 4. You are 68. The portfolio is $140 million. The portfolio grew because, in the 8 years since level 3, several things happened. A real estate property you bought in 2003 sold for 14 times what you paid. A small private equity position returned 30 times capital after a successful exit. The index positions, simply by sitting in the market, doubled. The compounding, across 2 decades of patient management, has now produced numbers that surprise even you. Your family office has, in response, transformed. You now have 12 employees. The office has moved into a small standalone building. The building does not have a sign on it. The mail comes addressed to a holding company with a generic name. The building has a conference room, individual offices, a small kitchen, and a server room. The building does not look, from the outside, like a family office. It looks like a small accounting firm. This is intentional. The 12 employees include a chief investment officer who joined 3 years ago from a larger institutional firm. The chief investment officer, whose name is Daniel, manages the active investment decisions across the portfolio. He reports to you. He also, in practice, has more decision authority than you do on day-to-day investment choices. You set the strategy. Daniel implements it. The family office now produces, internally, things that used to be produced externally. Quarterly investment reports, annual tax planning documents, estate planning summaries, insurance reviews. Everything that used to be done by separate firms, you now do in-house. The doing in-house is cheaper at this scale than the doing externally. The doing in-house also gives you faster information and better coordination. This is the 4th thing nobody tells you about family offices. The fourth thing is that, around $100 million, the family office crosses a threshold from cost center to value creator. Below the threshold, the office costs more than it saves through better coordination. Above the threshold, the office actively generates returns through better information, faster decisions, and access to opportunities that smaller portfolios cannot pursue. Your family office at this level has started co-investing with other family offices in private deals. Your family office gets shown opportunities that are not available to retail investors. Your family office can, in some cases, negotiate terms that institutional investors cannot. The position you now occupy, between retail and institutional, is its own specific market that operates by its own specific rules. The verb at level 4 is institutionalize. The family office becomes, in this transition, an actual institution. The institution has its own staff, its own processes, its own systems, its own internal culture. The institution operates with or without your daily involvement. Level 5. You are 74. The portfolio is $600 million. You have, in the last 6 years, made one large decision that transformed everything else. You decided to convert your family office into a multi-family office. This means your office now manages money for 3 other families in addition to yours. The 3 other families are friends. The friends are families with similar levels of wealth, similar values about how to manage it, and similar lack of interest in running their own family offices. The decision to take on outside families was not driven by money. The decision was driven by scale. Your office, at $140 million, was producing better results than what you could buy from external managers. Adding 3 more families, each with similar wealth, allowed you to spread the fixed costs of the office across a larger asset base. The expansion made everyone better off. Your office now has 28 employees. The office has moved into a larger building, in a more visible location, with a small sign that mentions a generic capital management firm name. The office accepts mail. The office has a website. The website is minimal and does not mention any client names. The clients prefer it this way. You are no longer the only principal. You are the founding principal, but the office has, in the last 3 years, brought in 3 other principal-level relationships. The principal-level relationships include another wealthy founder, a family with inherited industrial wealth, and a family with money from a successful technology company exit. The 4 principal families, together, control about $1.5 billion in assets managed by your office. This is the 5th thing nobody tells you about family offices. The 5th thing is that the most successful single-family offices, eventually, become multi-family offices. The conversion is not a failure of the original mission. The conversion is the natural evolution. The skills required to manage $100 million are not meaningfully different from the skills required to manage $1 billion. The systems can be shared. The expertise can be amortized. The conversion makes financial sense. The conversion also produces, accidentally, a small institution that will outlive your direct involvement. The institution is now serving multiple families. The institution has its own brand. The institution has its own staff that does not depend on any single family for employment. The institution is, in a meaningful sense, becoming independent of you. The verb at level 5 is institutionalize. Not just internally, externally. The institution is now visible. The institution is now choosing its own clients. The institution is now a small player in the small world of family office management. Level 6. You are 81. The office manages $12 billion. The portfolio belongs to 17 families. The 17 families include 3 branches of your original family. You, your 2 adult children with their separate households, and a small trust for your grandchildren, plus 14 other families who have joined over the last decade. The 14 other families came in stages. The first 3 came through personal relationships. The next 4 came through referrals from the original 3. The next 7 came through reputation. By the time the 7th new family joined, the office had become known in the small specific world of multifamily offices. The knowing was the asset. Families with significant wealth, when they decided to outsource the management of that wealth, started having your office on their short list. The office now has 94 employees. The office has 3 locations. The original location, in your home city. A secondary location in a major financial center. a small operations and technology team in a third city with lower costs. The office has, over time, become a real business. You are no longer the operational leader of the office. You stepped back from operations 4 years ago. The CEO of the office is someone you hired 5 years ago specifically with the goal of replacing yourself in operational matters. She is excellent. She runs the office better than you ever did. You are now the chairman of the office. You attend the quarterly board meetings. You weigh in on the largest decisions. You handle the most important client relationships. This is the sixth thing nobody tells you about family offices. The sixth thing is that the most successful family offices at the highest levels function more like small investment management firms than like extended families. The professionalization is the price of scale. The professionalization is also the reason the office can serve 17 families with quality that would have been impossible at smaller scales. The trade-off is real. The trade-off is, in retrospect, the right trade-off to have made. Your original $8 million, the $8 million from the company you sold 34 years ago, has grown, through the office's management, to about $90 million. Your family is now 4% of the office's assets. The other 96% belongs to other families. Your office is, in a meaningful sense, no longer about you. The office is its own thing. The verb at level 6 is professionalize. The professionalization is not a betrayal of the original purpose. The professionalization is what allows the original purpose to scale. Level 7. You are 87. The office manages $50 billion. The portfolio belongs to 31 families. The office has 240 employees. The office has 8 offices in 5 countries. The office is now, by any reasonable measure, a significant institutional player in the wealth management industry. The office is profiled occasionally in industry publications. The office is invited to industry conferences. The office competes, for the largest mandates, against firms with names that everyone recognizes. The office, despite its size, retains a specific identity that distinguishes it from the larger firms. The identity is that the office serves families, not institutions. The office takes a longer view than institutional money. The office maintains discretion that public firms cannot maintain. The office, despite its growth, still feels, from inside, like a family office. The feeling is the product. The feeling is what clients pay for. You are now a figurehead of the office. You do not, in any operational sense, run anything. The CEO runs the office. The board, which you chair, sets the largest direction. The clients, including your own family, interact with the office through their assigned relationship principles. You are honored at the annual partners' dinner. You speak occasionally at industry events. You are, in the way that founders eventually become, a symbol more than an operator. This is the 7th thing nobody tells you about family offices. The 7th thing is that the most successful family offices, eventually, become institutions in their own right that will outlive their founders by generations. The institution started, in your case, with one person at a small wooden desk in a converted guest bedroom. 40 years later, the institution employs 240 people and manages $50 billion across 5 countries. The institution is now its own thing. The institution will continue. The institution will, after you are gone, manage your grandchildren's wealth and their children's wealth with continuity that no other arrangement could provide. The continuity is the gift. The continuity is what you actually built, even though you did not know, at level 1, that you were building it. The verb at level 7 is endure. The institution endures. The institution endures because the institution is now larger than any single person, including its founder. The institution will, if managed well, persist for as long as families have wealth that needs managing. The persistence is the achievement. The payoff. So let's pull this together. At level 1, integrate. One person at one desk, coordinating 11 specialists who would otherwise drift apart. At level 2, delegate. The first hire is the hardest. The first hire is also the beginning of everything. At level 3, coordinate. The office becomes a real business whose product is preservation. At level 4, institutionalize. The threshold crossing where the office becomes a value creator instead of a cost center. At level 5, scale. The conversion from single-family to multi-family office is the natural evolution. At level 6, professionalize. The office becomes a small investment management firm with families as clients. At level 7, endure. The institution becomes its own thing, larger than its founder. Here is the thing nobody on YouTube will tell you about family offices. The family office is not really about managing money. The family office is about coordinating the human ecosystem that managing money requires. The 11 specialists at level 1, the 28 employees at level 4, the 240 employees at level 7, all of them exist to do the same fundamental work, which is to coordinate the decisions that, uncoordinated, would dissolve the wealth. The wealth requires coordination. The coordination requires people. The people require an institution to organize them. The institution, when it works, persists for generations. If you are watching this video and you have wealth that you are managing yourself, the message is that the conversion to a family office model happens, almost always, around the moment when the coordination work exceeds your capacity to do it well. The moment is specific. The moment is not abstract. The moment is when you realize, sitting at your desk, that something has fallen through the cracks again, and the cracks are getting larger. If you are watching this video and you do not yet have wealth at this scale, the message is that the family office model is, fundamentally, just the institutionalization of patience. The patience that allowed the founder to accumulate the wealth is the same patience that the office, eventually, encodes into its systems. The patience is the actual product. The wealth is just what the patience is applied to. Somewhere right now, a 47-year-old is sitting at a small wooden desk in the corner of a converted guest bedroom. They have, in their account, $8 million from selling a company. They do not yet know they are the founder of an institution. They will figure it out. Slowly, one hire at a time. If this video changed how you think about managing wealth across generations, hit subscribe. We have more videos like this on the channel, each one breaking down a different path that wealth takes through time and institutions. See you in the next one.